Yuji Itadori. Yuji Itadori's strength originates from an abnormal physical body rather than a cursed technique. Even before learning Jujutsu, Yuji possessed superhuman speed, strength, and durability,
だいたい30メートル。うわ、俺の勝ち！
allowing him to compete with trained sorcerers through raw physicality alone. After entering the Jujutsu world, he learned to layer cursed energy reinforcement onto these natural traits, resulting in striking power that exceeds most students despite his lack of an innate technique. Yuji's combat effectiveness is amplified by his mastery of Black Flash, a phenomenon that occurs when curse energy impacts within a fraction of a second of a physical hit. Yuji has achieved Black Flash repeatedly, demonstrating an intuitive understanding of cursed energy flow that rivals veteran sorcerers. This allows his attacks to deal exponentially greater damage and accelerates his growth by forcing his cursed energy control to evolve mid-battle. His durability is equally exceptional, allowing him to continue fighting after injuries that would incapacitate other students. As Sukuna's vessel, Yuji's body has adapted to contain and withstand immense cursed pressure, further increasing his resilience. While he lacks a versatile technique, his adaptability, combat instincts, and ability to read opponents compensate for this limitation. Yuji thrives in close-range combat, where his speed and reaction time allow him to overwhelm technique users before they can fully deploy their abilities. Against other students, this combination of physical dominance and cursed energy precision places him among the most consistently dangerous fighters. Megumi Fushiguro. Megumi Fushiguro wields the 10 Shadows technique, one of the most versatile and dangerous inherited curse techniques in Jujutsu society. This ability allows him to summon and control Shikigami using shadows as a medium, provided each Shikigami is first defeated and tamed. The strength of 10 Shadows lies not in raw output, but in adaptability. Each Shikigami fulfills a specific role, allowing Megumi to respond to a wide range of combat scenarios without relying on a single win condition. Megumi's intelligence and tactical restraint are what make his technique lethal. He combines Shikigami for layered attacks, uses shadows for storage and mobility, and manipulates positioning to control the pace of battle. Unlike most summoners, Megumi actively fights alongside his Shikigami, using weapons and close-range combat to pressure opponents, while his summons restrict movement or create openings. This hybrid fighting style prevents enemies from safely focusing on either Megumi or his Shikigami. His partial domain expansion, Chimera Shadow Garden, elevates him beyond standard student-level sorcerers. While incomplete, the domain floods the battlefield with shadows, allowing Megumi to summon Shikigami without restriction and duplicate both himself and his constructs. Inside this space, movement becomes hazardous, visibility is compromised, and Megumi gains overwhelming positional control. Although risky and unstable, the domain reflects Megumi's willingness to sacrifice safety for victory, a trait that consistently pushes him beyond his peers. Aoi Todo. Aoi Todo is a Grade 1 sorcerer whose strength is built on an exceptional combination of physical power, cursed energy control, and combat intelligence. Physically, Todo is among the strongest students, capable of inflicting catastrophic damage with basic strikes. His cursed energy reinforcement is refined enough to amplify this strength further, allowing him to overwhelm most opponents in close combat before techniques even become relevant. His defining ability is Boogie Woogie, a technique that allows him to instantly swap positions between any two targets imbued with cursed energy by clapping his hands. This includes allies, enemies, cursed tools, and even himself. The technique does not require line-of-sight execution, only awareness of the target's existence, making it extremely difficult to predict or counter. He can also clap without activating the technique, creating constant uncertainty and forcing opponents to hesitate or misjudge timing. What separates Todo from other high-output fighters is his combat IQ. He rapidly processes battlefield information, adapts to enemy patterns, and constructs multi-layered strategies mid-fight, according to himself. His ability to mislead opponents about the conditions of his technique turns every engagement into a psychological trap. Combined with his durability, strength, and experience fighting special-grade threats, Todo consistently outperforms opponents who appear stronger on paper, making him one of the most dangerous students in live combat scenarios. Kinji Hakari. Kinji Hakari's power is centered around probability manipulation through his domain expansion, Idle Death Gamble, which transforms combat into a forced gambling sequence. Unlike lethal domains that overwhelm opponents directly, Hakari's domain functions as a system that determines whether he receives a jackpot. If the jackpot condition is met, Hakari gains unlimited cursed energy for exactly 4 minutes and 11 seconds, during which he becomes effectively unkillable. During this jackpot state, Hakari's cursed energy output regenerates infinitely, and his body automatically uses reverse curse technique without conscious activation. This means any damage he receives is instantly healed, including lethal injuries such as destroyed organs or nervous system damage. Because this regeneration is automatic, Hakari does not suffer from reaction delay or technique failure, allowing him to fight aggressively without concern for defense. His physical attacks are further enhanced by his cursed energy's unique rough texture, which increases damage on contact even without sharp weapons. What makes Hakari especially dangerous is the loop nature of his ability. When the jackpot ends, his cursed energy is fully restored, allowing him to immediately reopen his domain and attempt another roll. This creates a cycle where opponents must defeat him decisively outside of jackpot windows, while surviving repeated bursts of invulnerability. Against most students, surviving even one jackpot phase is unrealistic. If this breakdown just rewired how you see Hakari, hit subscribe, like the video, share it with a friend, and smash the hype button if you see it. Probability says YouTube rewards gamblers. Toge Inumaki. Toge Inumaki possesses the curse speech technique, an inherited ability that converts spoken words into binding commands enforced through cursed energy. When Inumaki speaks a command, the target is forcibly compelled to obey, regardless of physical strength or durability. This makes his technique universally effective in principle, as it bypasses conventional combat interactions and directly overrides the target's actions. The limitation of cursed speech lies in backlash. The stronger the opponent and the more extreme the command, the greater the physical damage inflicted on Inumaki's throat and body. Additionally, experienced sorcerers can mitigate the effects by reinforcing their ears with cursed energy, reducing the technique's effectiveness rather than nullifying it completely. Despite these drawbacks, Inumaki remains extremely dangerous in coordinated combat. His ability to issue simple commands like stop, don't move, or get crushed can instantly create fatal openings for allies. Even special-grade curses have been affected by his speech when caught off guard. While his solo combat potential is limited by stamina and recoil, Inumaki's technique makes him one of the most effective control-based fighters among the students. Panda. Panda is a self-sustaining curse corpse created through advanced jujutsu research, housing multiple independent cores within a single body. Unlike standard curse corpses, Panda generates his own cursed energy, allowing him to fight autonomously without an external controller. His structure consists of 3 cores, each representing a different combat mode with distinct strengths. In his default Panda form, he operates as a balanced close-range fighter with enhanced strength and durability. His gorilla form dramatically increases offensive power and speed, allowing him to overwhelm opponents through brute force. This form consumes significantly more cursed energy but grants Panda striking power capable of damaging high-level sorcerers. His third mode, Triceratops, provides additional adaptability, reinforcing Panda's versatility in extended engagements. Panda's durability and physical resilience allow him to function as a frontline combatant, absorbing damage that would incapacitate other students. However, his effectiveness relies heavily on physical confrontation, leaving him vulnerable to highly technical opponents or techniques that bypass raw toughness. While he lacks the finishing power of top-tier students, Panda's endurance, adaptability, and multi-core structure make him a reliable and dangerous combatant in sustained fights. Noritoshi Kamo. Noritoshi Kamo is the heir to the Kamo clan and wields the inherited blood manipulation technique, an ability that allows precise control over his own blood. This technique grants Noritoshi access to mid and long-range attacks, binding techniques, and physical enhancement, making him one of the most technically versatile students. Unlike many sorcerers, his fighting style is built around preparation and positioning rather than raw aggression. Blood manipulation's most lethal application is piercing blood, a high-speed compressed blood projectile capable of traveling at near-sound speed. Noritoshi can also use techniques such as crimson binding to restrain opponents and flowing red scale to temporarily boost his physical performance by accelerating blood flow and muscle output. These abilities allow him to compete with physically superior opponents while maintaining distance and control. The core weakness of Noritoshi's technique is resource limitation. Because he relies on his own blood, extended battles place him at risk of blood loss, fatigue, and reduced effectiveness. Unlike death painting users, he cannot generate blood endlessly, forcing him to manage reserves carefully or supplement with stored blood packs. While his discipline, intelligence, and versatility make him a strong mid-tier combatant, these biological constraints prevent him from matching the sustained output of the strongest students. Maki Zenin. Maki Zenin's strength comes from a complete heavenly restriction that removed all cursed energy from her body in exchange for extreme physical enhancement. After Mai's death severed the last remaining cursed energy binding her, Maki's physical abilities reached their absolute limit. Her speed, strength, durability, reflexes, and perception rival or surpass those of elite sorcerers who rely on cursed techniques or domains. Because Maki possesses no cursed energy, she cannot be detected through conventional sorcerer sensing, rendering her effectively invisible to most opponents. This forces enemies to rely on physical perception alone, a disadvantage given Maki's superior reaction time and combat awareness. Her enhanced senses allow her to detect minute changes in movement, air pressure, and intent, enabling her to evade attacks that would normally be unavoidable and counter opponents before their techniques can fully activate. Maki's lethality is further amplified by her mastery of curse tools, particularly weapons that directly affect the soul or bypass durability. Unlike cursed energy-based attacks, her strikes cannot be mitigated through reinforcement or regeneration. This allows her to kill opponents who would otherwise survive fatal damage through healing or defensive techniques. In direct combat, Maki does not need to overpower abilities. She simply ends the fight before those abilities can matter. Yuta Okkotsu. Yuta Okkotsu is a special grade sorcerer despite being a student, meaning his power exceeds what the Jujutsu system can reliably classify or contain. His strength is not centered on a single technique, but on an abnormal combination of massive cursed energy reserves, high-level technical control, and access to an external combat asset in the form of Rika. Unlike most sorcerers who specialize in one combat role, Yuta functions as a complete combat unit capable of offense, defense, healing, and adaptability simultaneously. Yuta's cursed energy volume is among the largest in the series, allowing him to constantly reinforce his body without meaningful depletion. This passive reinforcement dramatically reduces incoming damage while amplifying his physical attacks, letting him fight high-level opponents without relying on technique activation. Because his output is stable and sustained, Yuta does not suffer from exhaustion in prolonged battles, removing one of the most common limitations placed on sorcerers during extended engagements. What elevates Yuta beyond raw stats is his mastery of reverse curse technique and technique replication. He can instantly heal fatal injuries, regenerate lost limbs, and continue fighting at full efficiency, invalidating attrition-based strategies. Through Rika, Yuta can store and deploy copied curse techniques with immediate proficiency, allowing him to counter specialists using their own abilities. This adaptability makes him unpredictable and nearly impossible to prepare for, placing him at the top of the student power hierarchy.